Awesome. We have a bunch on. I'm sure more will trickle in, but I want to get started. And first of all, thank you all for coming to this. I want to talk about the format that I have envisioned, but I also am completely open to feedback as I want this to be truly like a mastermind and not just a person talking to a group. So for this week, my plan is to do a deep dive of how Craft and Bauer started, what we do, our value proposition, everything that we offer our teammates. And then at the end, I'm thinking we would do a Q&A, and each week or each month we'll have about a 35 to 40-minute presentation by somebody who wants to share what their team structure is and their value proposition and how their team works. And then each week end with the opportunity to have people ask questions and really engage with each other. If anybody has any other ideas, please let me know, but I think that is the initial vision that I had. So, what I'd love to do this week is just get started with our background and the team that we run. My background is in construction. I've been in the real estate and construction industry almost my whole life. My dad is a general contractor. Started working with him when I was 10 years old, building houses, designing houses, doing trim carpentry. I got my real estate license to sell the houses that he and I were building together. And I started working at Coldwell Banker as an independent agent, became one of the top agents in my city. The Coldwell Banker franchise got bought out by corporate, and I am not a corporate guy. So I really felt like it was just no more fun at that point. So a good friend of mine named Leah was also an agent in our town. I started selling in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, and Leah's mom was the number one agent in our city, Joanna, and her company was called Joanna and Associates Realty. And Joanna sold 350 homes a year in a town where about 1,000 homes a year sold. So she had 35% market share. And every other sign driving up and down the streets was a Joanna sign. She had a small team. It was Joanna, her two daughters, their two husbands, an office manager, and a front desk person. So I worked as an independent agent with them for about a year, and then their office manager, Terry, retired. So Joanna asked me to become their office manager. I worked with them in that office for a few years. And around 2007, we started having a lot of people not buy second homes anymore because, as you all are aware, 2008 was a rough year for everybody, and people stop with second homes before they lose their primary homes. So we were double whammy hit in 2007, 2008. We had over 100 listings, none of them were selling, and essentially we went out of business. Keep the doors open. I lost my house. Everything was a bad time. Around that time, my dad was also in the process of starting a new pizza place. My grandfather's business was pizza restaurants, and my dad has had a number of them through the years. He started having this pain in his mouth and realized that it was actually something more than just a toothache. It ended up being lymphoma. So he asked me to start the restaurant for him, and I did. And when he was well enough to take it back over, I went back to real estate. Around that time, I met a guy named Howard Tager. Howard had created a product called Tiger Lead, which was very innovative at the time. It's more common nowadays, but it was a home search website paired with a CRM system, and they did advertising. So I became an inside salesperson. I moved to Los Angeles and sat in my apartment and called leads all day long. And I referred them back to people that I knew in Lake Havasu City, and we would split the deal. So for a few years, we sold about 50, 60 homes a year with me sitting in an apartment making phone calls. And then I joined the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Team in Training, which is a marathon running group that raises money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I met the COO of a brokerage called Partners Trust in Beverly Hills, which was a luxury brokerage in LA. And she introduced me to the president of that firm. His name is Nick Siegel. He's an amazing guy. You may know his uncle, George Siegel, from Just Shoot Me and the Goldbergs. And his uncle raised him. Nick had, when he was very young, his mom committed suicide, and his dad ended up dying from a horrible disease like within that year. Nick is a really good, emotionally intelligent person. And every year he would lead us through Think and Grow Rich in the fall. And I really feel like Joanna was my first mentor, Nick was my second mentor. And I really learned the heart and soul of this business from Nick. I also, around that time, started working with Lewis Howes, who is the podcast The School of Greatness. I helped him find his first apartment in Los Angeles, and I took some leadership training with him. I met a guy through that who was also in real estate and working with a big developer who was buying big high-end spec homes, big homes, rehabbing them and selling them as spec homes in Los Angeles. They asked me to work with them to launch a brokerage, which I was the COO of. It was called Mercer Vine. I worked with them to build that company over a few years. We met Marin May at that place. She was our director of biz dev and she helped us recruit agents. I had worked with Shayna Gates, who is an amazing person. Prior to that, she and I were both Tiger Lead users and became buddies, and we would just meet at conferences and geek out on tech. And she had moved back up to the Central Valley during this time and started a real estate team, and she ran the Gates team. There were some things that happened with Mercer Vine that were outside of our control, and I ended up having to go to Compass. So I went to Compass for a year. I had been friends with Max Fitzgerald for a few years. We met through Instagram, and he was just an amazing person. And I really enjoyed the way that he was selling real estate. He was working on a lot of investment properties with REITs, and he would underwrite properties in a really unique way. And I just really was drawn to the way that he treated real estate as a business instead of an emotional kind of setup. So he and I would have lunch all the time. And one day in the winter of 2018, he brought me to have lunch on the rooftop of the London in West Hollywood. And we ended up spending all day sitting together talking about how we should start a real estate brokerage together. So we decided to launch Craft and Bauer Real Estate Company in 2019. We sat in my dining room and we taped big sheets of paper to the walls and we started writing down the kinds of people that we wanted to work with. So we distilled all of that into what we call our Strive core values. So we wanted to be around people who are skilled, trustworthy, relatable, innovative, visionary, and ethical. And that really drove our growth over the first few years. Max wanted to include the word craft in our name because selling real estate well is a true craft. And I have always been drawn to Europe and European words, and I loved the word Bauer ever since I was a little kid. I used to play street hockey, and Bauer skates were the cool skates. Bauer means farmer in German. I've also really always been drawn to companies that have an animal as their icon. And so the rooster became our icon. So Craft and Bauer is the intersection of selling real estate well, and we have a geographic farm, we cultivate relationships, and it all became cohesive for us. 2020 was a big growth year for us. We ended 2019, our first year, with 9 agents. In 2020, Shayna Gates took the leap of faith to join us, and she brought her entire team into Craft and Bauer. That really helped our growth. We went from 9 agents in 2019 to 29 agents by the end of 2020. And all of our growth had always been completely organic. We never recruited. It was always just people, word of mouth, bringing their friends to work with us at Craft and Bauer. I want to talk about our initial commission split structure because I think that would be really helpful for us all to understand how other people are running their businesses. And so originally we had a choose your own adventure with commission split structures. Everybody paid a $1,600 errors and omissions insurance premium each year. We also had their choice of four different commission splits. So there was a 70/30 at no monthly fee. There was an 80/20 at $125 per month. There was a 90/10 at $275 per month. And there was a 95/5 at $425 per month. We initially really wanted to create just this white glove experience where our agents could just plug into our tools, not have to think about anything. They could just plug into the business and start using the tools that we provided for them. I believe that our branding was a big part of our growth. We really appreciate nice design, and we also focused on providing agents with really great tools to market themselves and their properties that they listed. We had really our core leadership team with Max and I as the co-founders and driving the vision behind the business. I was the COO of our company at that time and really created the operational just kind of consistency. Shayna, we made an equity partner in 2021, and she is incredibly tech forward thinking. And so she became our chief strategy officer. And she really helped us to advance and stay ahead of the curve with our tech. We hired a creative director who was, her name is Denise. She's still with us. And she helped us to, Max and I were wearing all hats when we first started. We were doing everything. We learned InDesign during COVID in a class to be able to create social media posts and flyers and all the stuff for our agents. So we grew and we really started to just attract a lot of people that were of like mind. Our strive characteristics, our core values were really our guiding light as we were growing. And as long as we recognized somebody fit that core value set, we hired them. We swelled and contracted over the years, and we would scale back with agents who were not super productive. We did read a book actually because Ashley and Steve Luther recommended it called The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni. And we really took that to heart. While a lot of our teammates were adequate team players, they were not ideal team players. And so in Patrick Lencioni's book, which is amazing, it's told in the format of a fable. And he talks about the, I'm going to sum it up very quickly. The combination of hungry, humble, and smart are the ideal team player. So if you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. It is incredible. That became our new guiding light in the hires that we made. We did pretty well for 6 years. We plugged along, we grew, but we started to face some challenges in 2024. Obviously, the NAR settlement was a stressor. We also realized that there was diminishing return in running a brokerage. More agents doesn't necessarily mean more profit. So we really realized we had to make some changes last year. We also were having just stress. We felt overworked, underpaid, and we just really could not keep going at that pace. Max was our California broker. I was our Arizona broker. We were both taking phone calls at all hours of every day. Poor Max took a conference call on his wedding day to help with a contract question. So it was a horrible quality of life And for me, that really hurt because I knew that we had created this place that we wanted to work ourselves. That it was the company that we wanted to work for. And in many regards, it was perfect for the agents, but it wasn't sustainable for us. So we had to make some hard choices about how we were going to restructure. I want to mention some of our core products that we used at that time. So a buddy of mine helped us build a central headquarters that we used to integrate all of our technology, which was our first version of what Max eventually went on to create, which is called StackWrap. StackWrap is a centralized product which allows a team or a brokerage to integrate all of their tools and tech stack into one place. We love Monday.com. Monday is like my favorite program in the whole world. I create Monday boards for everything. Follow Up Boss is our CRM system, which we love, even though Zillow owns it now. Ylopo is our home search experience. Shayna had been Ylopo's first customer. Shayna is married to Howard, who is now the co-founder of Ylopo, his new company, and Jufeng Ji is the brains behind the driving of leads to create an amazing system through Ylopo. We used a Squarespace website. We designed the site ourselves, and then we had Ylopo program that for us into a Squarespace content management system. We use a program called Thinkific to run our university, which when we started Craft and Bauer, we started recording all of our trainings. And so COVID actually ended up being a good thing for us in that regard. We had originally thought that we would start a brick and mortar location, but with the growth that happened all over the state, we realized that was going to be impossible for us. We started in LA, we expanded into the Central Valley. We have agents down in San Diego, all the way up to Humboldt County. Then we opened in Arizona. We have agents in Phoenix and Scottsdale and Paradise Valley. And it's like, you're not going to be able to build office locations in all of those spots. Being online really did help us. We use Google Workspace, we give everybody a Gmail account and use Google Meets to get everybody aboard. Every other Friday or every third Friday, we'll host a workshop for our team. And we really did build this collaborative culture within our team and brokerage where agents felt like they knew each other, even though some of them are in Arizona and some of them are in Modesto. And so all the different places that our agents worked, we really do feel like we built a team environment that they enjoyed. With our shift in 2024, we considered a few different options. We were approached by ERA to sell the brokerage to them and stay on, and then they would fund acquisitions. I really didn't love that idea. It still kept us in a lot of liability because we would still be the brokers. And we also, I remember one of the calls, she said, what would you say if we could take you from 60 agents to 600 agents? And I was like, that sounds like prison. I don't want to do that. We talked to Compass, which I was not thrilled about taking that call, but we did. We looked at Side, we looked at Radius, we looked at Real, and we almost pulled the trigger on Radius. We had a come to Jesus moment in Thanksgiving era of 2020. What was that? That would have been 2024. And we went, all right, we're going down the wrong path with that. So we re-engaged with Real. We decided to pull the trigger. We had so many expenses. We were spending like 40 to $50,000 a month on our brokerage. We had Sisu, we had everybody had a Follow Up Boss account, Ylopo, we had Skyslope, uh, and the Google account, which we still have, but just all of that and multiple teammates that were on staff, our bookkeeper, who was heavily integrated into what we were doing, spending lots and lots of effort and money on creating the commission demands and summing those up at the end of the year, sending out 1099s. We had our creative director, who we still work with, two Philippines-based graphic designers to support her, head of agent care, who would help with anything the agents need, and onboarding and offboarding and all that fun stuff. With we belong to 14 different realtor associations and MLS systems. So there were just all these different expenses that just piled up. And we also really felt a little bit like, what if our top producer leaves? Like, we're in a bad position because we're depending on that revenue, and people make changes. Like, I just didn't want to be in that position anymore where we were beholden to somebody else. When we were an independent brokerage fully, we paid a $1,500 recruitment bonus, 500, 500, 500 over anybody's first three deals when someone brought their friend over to join us. That was about all that we could do as an indie firm, which I thought was pretty generous also, but it just was the extent of what we could offer. One of the things that appealed to us about Real was the structure with the revenue share. Now all of our agents are able to essentially make $4,000 a year anytime they refer somebody to our team, which is pretty great, much better than $1,500 once. We've also reduced our overhead massively, and we've restructured our commission split structure. So currently, we did give a little bit better deal to the people that were with us and came with us. We had 55 agents at the time of our announcement. A week later, we moved into Real, and 45 of the agents stuck with us. So we get to offer three caps at Real. The split structure is an 85-15 to Real, capping at $12,000 per year if you're a solo agent or a team leader. And then as a team leader, you can offer a 6K cap as well. And then if you're a team like us who does more than $100 million a year in business, you can also offer a 4K cap. So we offer a 12, a 6, or a 4K cap, and our commission split ranges on our team split depending on which of those caps you choose as an agent. Our new agents moving forward pay a 10% team split on the 12K cap to the Craft and Bauer Pro team now instead of a brokerage. They pay a 12.5% team split on the 6K cap, and they pay a 15% team split on the 4K cap. So they cap with Real and they get to keep 100% of that, but we are always charging a team split because they are still getting all of the resources that we offer as a team. I want to show you our tech and just how we structure things because I would love to get everybody's ideas and hopefully we can all improve from seeing this. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So what you're looking at is our headquarters. This is run now on StackRap. We centralize all of our tools in one place. We have a main dashboard. It integrates with Follow Up Boss. There's also an agent onboarding checklist that we can use to help our agents get integrated with us. We can post our company meetings here. We can send messages to our team through this. It links to all of our stuff. They can book appointments with us. We integrate with our Gmail, our Google Chat, our Follow Up Boss. Our previous transaction management system was through SkySlope. So now we, instead of using SkySlope, our transaction management is run through Real's platform called Reason, which integrates all of the transaction management. We still have our core offerings of a few, what I call our core products. Our university continues to be a big part of our value proposition. So I created a bundle for us, which I call our foundational essentials for a thriving career. And we encourage any new agents that join us to take these essential classes. So every year I lead a business planning workshop and I created a workbook that is given to them to set personal, professional, financial goals. That gets done in November every year. And that way they can plan for the next year and focus on what they want to achieve in their business during the following year. I also have a guide for holding a successful buyer consultation. Um, Back in my partner's trust days, I created the 6 simple steps to purchasing a home. And so that is our process. And we were definitely ahead of the curve in making sure that we get hired with a buyer broker exclusive employment agreement through the initial conversation, consultation, get hired, then get them pre-approved, then go show houses, then get into escrow, and then close the deal. So, that's kind of how that structure works. Shayna taught this class. It's how to host the best open house. Incredible class. Joanna taught this class, getting listings and dominating your market. She was a single mom to 3 girls. She was the #1 agent in our city. She was the #1 agent Better Homes and Gardens realty agent in the whole world. She knows a lot about getting listings and dominating your market, selling 350 homes a year. So we teach people how to use YLOPO. We've changed our structure a bit with more consistent training this year. So I do the business planning workshop in November, but now I have an accountability group every Tuesday. And I run the year in 4 sprints of productivity. So instead of just like a full year of like chugging along doing your business, my thought is that people can do like 70, 80, 90-day sprints much easier than they can focus on a whole year of business. So on Tuesdays at 11 to 11:30, anybody who would like to is welcome to join us for our Tenacity Tuesday accountability group. We hold each other to our personal, professional, financial goals. On Wednesdays in the afternoon, Shayna and I lead a prospecting power up workshop and accountability group from 4 to 4:30 p.m. Anybody who wants to can join. We talk about what we're going to do to focus on prospecting and generating new business that week. And then everybody breaks out separately and we'll do call nights. Some will meet with a lender at their office and have like a call night together. Some people call their open house leads from the previous weekend. Some people call their farm list. Some people call their sphere of influence. So it's kind of again, you choose your own prospecting lane and just focus on making deals happen. Shayna and I are firmly in the belief that if you just do 5 hours of work a week making phone calls, you will have deals come together within 60 to 90 days. And it's just, we've seen it time after time after time. We've proved it. We've got new teammates that join us that do it. We had just this week, one of our agents. I love the self accountability and like the self drive in people because one of our agents posted in our Google chat this week, like, hey, how do I upload a farm list? I sent her the Follow Up Boss link and she uploaded a farm list, started making the calls, and boom, she's got 2 or 3 listing appointments that she's going out on just because she made the effort. So that's incredible. Um, when we joined Real, we restructured our stuff a little bit. I am now taking more of the lead on running Craft and Bauer on the operations, and Max has been hired as one of the brokers in the state of California by Real. So he's actually one of our state brokers now. Um, he's also working a lot on Stack Wrap, so he's definitely got a lot of things to focus on. Shayna is stepping a lot more into production and leading teams. So she has two groups that she's running, one now in Modesto and one in the Coachella Valley, to actually do sales teams and focus on production. With our move, we were introduced, thankfully, Marin introduced us to this. It is a product called Breakthrough Broker. Breakthrough Broker is a system that a brokerage owner created to help with marketing. So Denise is still our creative director and drives creation of new products that our team uses. But now a lot of the fulfillment of our stuff is automated, and we don't have to have those Philippines based graphic designers anymore. So in this, we create, if an agent wants a sign, they come here, they pick which sign they want. Their setup is completely integrated. So, boom, they download it, they send it to their printer, and they're able to do that. And that's with every different product. We created phases of marketing materials. So, social media posts, flyers, brochures, postcards, trifold brochures, all these things are able to be created and automated. So we're about to launch where when a listing hits the MLS, our agent is going to be getting an email that says, "Hey, congratulations on your new listing. We've created these 25 assets for you to market the property. Sign into your design studio and download them." And so that has been game changing for us. Um, we have all these different things that we can do through that. We've also been able to, um, let's go back here. It is a little slow. That's the only, but I think it's because it's just thinking so hard. We have home buyer guides that are customizable now, so the agent's bio can go in them. One of the things that we do still do for our team is create a custom homebuyer landing page for each of them to be able to text to to their clients or email to their clients. It embeds our homebuyer guide into it, and then it talks about the steps. It gives this cool little infographic of what the home purchase process looks like. It gives them a sample of the agreement that they're going to be signing to employ us. Reminds them that if they're selling their house, we've got them covered on that too. We've got so many sell buys lately that people are selling their house, buying a new house. So we don't want to lose those opportunities. You can embed anything you want into these. So these are just on our Squarespace site, and we just build a page for every single one of our agents. And so I've got one for both California and Arizona, but it's craftbauer.com/buy dash with dash Dominic dash CA or dash AZ. But all of our agents get one, and then they can send it off to their team. Um, Shayna had a really good idea a few years ago because she was sick of sending an email full of links about marketing um, the to the clients that she was working with. So we created what we call our seller landing pages. Our agents can request these through our creative request link on our HQ. And so they come in, they see this submit a seller landing page request form. We only ask for a few things from them. So, what's the property address? What's their name? If they want any files uploaded into it, the tax record, we ask them to perform the CMA. Our creative team doesn't know what the property value is, so they have to do that still. We have Ylopo tools. We can create a heat map. We can do different things, so they can provide us specific photos that they want included. So our creative team makes a seller landing page for them. It's specific to that seller. and specific to that agent. So this is a sample for one that we just put on the market yesterday. Shayna requested this a month ago, and she sent it to the seller prior to our appointment with them to list the house. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Alfonso, we're so excited to meet with you tomorrow. In advance of our meeting, we've prepared this page especially for you. Check it out. That way, when we meet, you can ask us any questions that you have. So it gives our listing presentation, which we now call our seller magazine, embedded in the site. And we also bring a hardback bound copy of that to the property. We are part of Leverage Global Partners, so we can offer advertising on Leverage to advertise in Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Robb Report, Financial Times, Mansion Global. They show a summary of the advertising, and so we show a sample of what we could provide them if they were to list with us. The CMA gets embedded so they can see that. I don't like to give the value that I'm ranging personally until I'm at the house. But I do pull the comps that I think are probably going to support it ahead of time. We also just kind of show examples of the kinds of marketing collateral that we could create for them if they were to list their property with us. And then we finish out with our bios, and that page gets sent to the seller ahead of time. In addition to our creative design studio and our university, we also have our final core product that I call like our core products is our marketplace. So our agents can buy branded swag. We use Printify to fulfill this. It's a Squarespace website shop, and then we use Printify to fulfill the products. Plus, more importantly, these are available to our agents. So we have hardbound channel binders that they can either order. They would need a little crimper for this, but they can order fully done listing presentations and buyer guides in bulk so that they have them on hand to grab and go to those appointments. Um, this has been really, really impressive. I call it the 1-2 punch. You start with the link through the seller landing page or the buyer landing page, and then you meet in person with the hardbound book, and it's a leave behind. And it's just so impressive to the buyers and the sellers that we win almost every listing that we go on. All these different things are available through our marketplace. Let me see. I'm gonna check. I had some other notes that I was wanting to make sure that I hit on. I think that's probably it in terms of just like our structure now. I'd love to open it up to questions at this time uh, and go from there. Okay, let me read. Helen. Okay, so agents can create the marketing collateral themselves using the Creative Design Studio. We are about to launch an automation for that, which will integrate with the MLS. And as soon as they enter the property into the MLS, it's going to automatically create 25 different marketing assets that are going to pull the photos and the design um, template, and then the information about the property, address, bedroom, bathroom count, price, all that fun stuff into the design. Then they'll be able to sign into the design studio, make tweaks if they need to. Hopefully, it's pretty much ready to go. And then they download those assets. We don't pay for the printing on our team, but we do pay and create the assets for them to utilize. Um, One of the other things that we shifted on in terms of the the structure that we changed when we moved over to Real is we now charge agents to participate in our Follow Up Boss and our Ylopo. It's a $99 per month buy-in to get access to those two products. Um, if they were going to buy a Follow Up Boss on their own, it would be a $91 a month thing. So essentially, they're getting a website also for $8 extra a month. Um, so that helped us to shift some of the burden of these ongoing expenses to us. So we definitely have gotten rid of a lot of our stress with that. Um, let's see. Awesome. Thank you, Todd. That's very nice of you to say. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I also have another question regarding your commission split.
Uh-huh.
Earlier, you mentioned about your commission split. Does it account for, or does it include the leads that are provided by the company? Do you have a different
So
commission split for that?
leads are not really one of our value propositions, quite honestly. If they are provided leads, that's going to be on one of Shayna's sales teams, and there's going to be a share of deal to Shayna and a share of deal to the agent because Shayna is the one buying and selling buying those leads and providing those leads. Um, our core products as Craft and Bauer are really about empowering the agent. Most of our agents are not at a stage of their career that they need us to give them leads. They've got their own business going. They just want a more professional, consistent aesthetic and training and accountability. So leads are not really something that we really even offer as unless they want to work with Shayna directly.
I see. So those are only if they are partnering with Shayna on a deal. Got it.
Correct. Yeah.
Hey Dominic, I was going to ask you about your splits. They, from everything I've heard, and I'm just starting to grow our team here in Boston, they 10% on a full cap. Um, from everything I've heard other teams doing seems very low. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but that sounds very low to me. I've heard things like 70-30 if it's 50-50 or 60-40 if it's your own a team generated lead, if it's your sphere 70-30. So I was just wondering your experience in that, and is it your price point that drives it? Is it your profitability? How did you come up with the splits? And then the follow-up question is, I love how dialed in you are with your value prop. I think that's so important. Are most of the agents that are coming to you organically, as you said, are you still actively recruiting agents? Or do you have amazing retention? And if you are currently attracting agents, now that you're at Real, are you going to be attracting agents just to Real or only to your team?
Good
Um,
questions.
and are they experienced or at a certain level of their career as your avatar? I know
Yep.
that was probably like 8 questions.
That's
Sorry.
all right. I'll try to run through all of them. So essentially, we still feel like we're a brokerage. Even though we're operating as a team, Real is just the platform that we are running our brokerage on. So I I feel like Real gave us a couple things. It gave us the tech to replace things like SkySlope and Sisu, and quite honestly, tons and tons of hours of accounting, which was my job. So imagine 300 transactions last year. Let's conservatively say I took an hour for each of those files to do the accounting. That's 300 hours I picked up in my life, not having to be responsible for that. Let's say that Max and I spent a couple hours on compliance for each of those files. That's 600 hours we picked up not being responsible for the compliance anymore. So that's that. We are still basically just running teammates. Our teammates are just like they were previously as a brokerage. They've got their own business. They're coming in as long as we feel like we're making enough to keep things rolling with our splits. I'm happy with the numbers. I feel like that's gonna get people to join because they are still paying a split to the brokerage. So essentially they're at a 75-25 until they cap when they join us at the 12K cap, and then they're at a 90-10. Um, that's kind of where we need to be in some of the markets that we are in to be competitive. Um, and because leads are not part of the equation, that really helps us to keep things a lot lower on our team split. Um, okay, what were some of your other questions?
I think that, I think you
Oh,
answered that.
oh, attraction to the team. So we had 45 agents on January 2nd that joined us. Um, I, because we co-branded with Real, we have attracted some other team leaders that never would have been a part of the Craft and Bauer team. They've got their own thing going, their own brands all over the country. So that has increased my network size at Real. I have 187 agents in my network at Real as of today from 45 on January 2nd. There is, let's see, 64 agents on the Craft and Bauer team now from 45 to 64 in 10 months. So we are increasing our team size. We're being a lot more selective about the number of deals that somebody does to be a part of the Craft and Bauer team. This has given us an avenue to help people find the right road for them. Whereas now we can help them get into Real if they just need a great place to operate from. They still get our support, they still get our access to our accountability, but we don't have to give them all of the products that we give our teammates unless they're productive enough to join our team. We really want to make sure that people are selling at least a house a quarter to be on the Craft and Bauer team, because it's still expensive to provide emails, provide access to Breakthrough Broker, to provide all of the products that we're offering them. And so I do want to make sure that that's there. So I'm attracting people to Real who are team leaders. I'm attracting people to Craft and Bauer who want to be like able to be the Navy SEALs of real estate. And then I'm also able to attract people who aspire to be the Navy SEALs of real estate directly into Real.
I think
Does that
with that,
help?
it's like choose your own adventure, right? There's you can do quality, not quantity for your team if you choose, or they can just come to like you have the option of, and I saw it in real time. There were other independent brokerages that would not join Craft and Bauer that have now joined Real because they can keep their autonomy and their brand. So it's nice that you have the option. You don't have to herd the cats always. I feel like as you guys are all leaders on this call, as you grow your team, it can become really time consuming, for whatever it's worth. But Todd had a really good question, I thought.
Well, let's see. Where are we at? Okay. Try to run my group as a boutique brokerage with the power of Real behind us. I find it challenging to discuss Real splits versus Bauhaus splits and how they cap one or both. Looking for a cleaner solution. Even using the terms team is tough as Bauhaus recruits teams. So I think you have to be super clear about what your value proposition as Bauhaus. Um, because for me, I feel like this has made me focus really clearly about what it is that I offer a teammate. Um, and it's very like transparent of what they're getting from Real and what they're getting from me. And that's why I feel like it's so clear for me to be able to say, like, here's your commission split structure with Real, but here's your commission split structure with my team because this is what I'm giving you for that. Um, I think while Real does allow you to do some things on the back end to to create the structure however you want. For me, the visibility and transparency route has been more effective for me. Does that make sense?
Helen, you're private label too. Do you have anything to add to that? I don't know who else on the call is private label or running a team or how you guys handle that. I think it's a good question.
Yeah, I literally just typed my answer as well, or my response. I agree with you, Todd. It's like it's really hard because we are basically competing with real. If an agent already has their book of business, they have to decide on why am I joining your team to get a lower split, or I can just join real and just cap at 4K, right? And
No, they would have to get a
They would have to
12.
cap at 12.
Yeah,
oh,
they don't
sorry,
get
12. Okay, 12K. And then I think one of the things I noticed is that unless they really believe in your culture, you have to be really unique compared to everyone else. You have an education that no one else can do. For example, for us, our team, I mean, we have a very small team, but like everyone on our team, basically, it's like they just love our branding. They love our culture. They love the fact that we can do both residential and commercial real estate. Not every single team can do it, and then we provide the marketing. For us, we don't have such a powerful platform like yours. That would be awesome. We do have templates that they can use from Canva, but we do have a marketing assistant that just do all of these marketing collateral for them. So and then we promote them as well. So that will be our valid proposition. But otherwise, yeah, I feel like I constantly talking to individual agents who are producing. They'd be like, "Well, why should I join your team? I can just do all of that, and then just join Real with a 12K cap." Sorry, it's 12K, not 4K.
Yeah, that's a challenge that I've felt or kind of like foreshadowed or seen coming as I'm trying to look for not junior or startup agents, a little bit more producing agents. But I think this call and the more I hear from people like all of you on this call, and thank you, Dom, is it is really establishing we are different. Bauhaus is a boutique brand. It has a vision and a curated look. I do need to spend some dollars on that. You know, we're going to be going with a platform similar to Breakthrough Broker as well, where we have a plug and play system. I'll have a lot more questions on how you put it all into yours, Dom, because I was very impressive to where I could just here it is for you. And what we offer aren't leads, but it is a mentorship, training, and a curated boutique feel where, you know, Real is so impressive and I'm so thankful to have them behind us. But in my market, they don't necessarily mean anything. There are a handful of real agents that fly that flag. But as someone that's been in the business right here for that long, I haven't, I've barely come across them. But as I open and get exposed to it more, I'm like, man, they are right here. And it's whether they're on a team or it's just they're a little quieter. It's such an impressive group to be a part of. And the fact that we have everyone here on this call and this type of collaboration, I think I see a better path to building it and establishing our value proposition, as Dominic said.
Cool.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I I think that we're gonna see a continuation of consolidation of business models, like the Compass Anywhere behemoth, the Carolwoods of the world, who are like boutique brokerages through and through, who just work on $30 million houses. Like they're gonna have their place in the market from relationships, that kind of thing. And then I think models like Real are going to help indie brokers run their business. I just feel like this is the place for us who are entrepreneurial and want to run the brokerage without the stress and the overhead and the that. I feel like that's where this provides us that place.
I think the more specialty you can be, and for lack of a better word, picking your lane, we're going to be able to weather the storm of the Zillow Compass battle. But I am curious to see how that battle goes because they do paint a pretty ugly picture for the future for performing quality, good realtors.
Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, though, I feel like it's always going to provide opportunity. Like the relationships that we have are what what keep us going. Like Marin is a relationship that I've had for 12 years, and I wouldn't be here without Marin because I trust her and I love her, and that's what brought me this direction. So I still feel like even if we see these like Amazons of real estate, I feel like we could still just like pick a pick a place to operate from and be successful with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Which one are you going to use, Todd, for
Which one?
the instead of breakthrough broker?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say yet.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, is Marin here? Is she back on?
Not yet. I don't know if she will.
Uh, I mean, it's one that Real was in the early stages of thinking about. And
Okay.
while before I onboarded, I went through 3 or 4 different demos with Breakthrough Broker and 3 or 4 demos with them. I do find them to be more robust and you can build out, they're less limiting and user friendly.
Okay.
But having just a quick glimpse at your Breakthrough Broker, I'm like, wow, I don't know if I could undo that to build it. But it's really impressive. And
It
once
it
mine's built on,
takes a lot of work. Like I'm not gonna lie, like everything that I've shown you, I couldn't have done this quickly if we wouldn't have had the foundational infrastructure of it being part of our value as Craft and Bauer to start with. And I couldn't do it without Denise, quite honestly. Like she's been so integral in helping us to create those products to give to Breakthrough Broker. I don't feel like they're capable of producing that without us sending them the design that we want to
yeah.
make.
Well, once my design, I'm building mine out right now on the new platform. I'll
Yeah.
share it with you, and we'll
Cool.
talk about it as it evolves. I think Real's going to announce it in next month
Okay.
as one of their partners
Got
and
it. Got it.
options for everybody.
Cool.
Um, yeah, marketing and a curated feel is so important to me, but it is a lot of work, even with as small as we are, and
Yep.
that's been part of my challenge.
Yeah, I mean, what we have in there is probably in total like 300 designs that whether it's a sign or a open house sign or a business card and
Yeah,
like there's literally hundreds of different things that had to be built and uploaded and created.
yeah.
Um,
I think I might need a Denise.
I can introduce you. She's got her own creative
Yeah,
business.
I'll chat with you about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Um, any other questions this week? We're gonna pick back up next month. This will be the third Thursday of every month for anybody who wants to join. Um, what do you all think of this format in terms of like the initial, like me interviewing somebody, having them talk through their business model, their value proposition, their structure, and then opening it up to questions to people at the end?
I'm in.
All right, great. Cool. Next month, Chris Spiker is my first guest. He runs the Spiker Group with his wife, Peggy Lynn. They have a team in Hawaii, they've got a team in DC, and Chris plays a lot of golf. That's that's the structure of his business. So I'm excited to learn about how he has scaled and built a team that allows him to have a great quality of life.
This has been very impressive, Dominic.
Thank you, Van. I'm so happy to see you. I miss seeing you at our meeting, so I'm excited that you're part of this. I just you guys were the best part of that group that we were a part of. So I'm so grateful to be working with you in this capacity again.
I appreciate that. I usually keep quiet in these, but I let Steve and Ashley do most of it. I'm just branding and, you know,
Nice.
my role, but I was, being the experience officer that I am here, right?
Yep.
Loved what you showed us. Like I was like, oh, I wish I had a recording of this. I could just skip hours. But
So I'm gonna have to figure out how to piece this together. My intention is to to put this on Craft and Bauer University
ah,
and record these every month. That way everybody can re-reference these as team leaders and brokerage owners.
I'm telling you, because there were things I saw in there that Steve has said, man, I wish we could do this. And, because I come from the music business, right? What do
Yeah.
I? So I'm going, well, I don't even know what that would look like. There are things in there that he's told me he wants to create, and I just saw it tangibly.
Nice.
So
Cool.
it's cool.
Yeah. So it I think it's recording all three of these. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to merge them into into that. And I'm gonna work to make sure that we don't have these Zoom issues next time.
No worries. Will
Yeah.
we be able to rewatch this?
You should be able to. So I'll put it on Craft and Bauer University, and I'll email you all the link, anybody who attended today, so you
Cool.
can sign in. Our university is not like pay, like you could take any of those classes yourself. So I really want to improve the industry, and I feel like the education that we provide on that is available to anybody in the real estate industry, in my opinion.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. Thank
Cool.
you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Dylan, we'll send it out. Thanks for joining, everybody. I will see you next month.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dom. Thanks,
Talk soon,
everybody.
Dom.
Bye.
Bye.